My name is Maya. This morning, I woke up next to a man whose last name I share, in a house we bought together, under a blanket we picked out at a department store. And the first thought that popped into my head wasn't good morning or what's for breakfast. It was, I don't like my husband. It wasn't a thought that came from anger, not the kind that follows a screaming match or a slammed door. It was quiet, factual. It just settled into the room with the morning light, as plain and real as the pillow under my head. It's a terrifying thing to admit, even just to yourself. It feels like a betrayal, like a failure of the highest order. We're taught that love can fade and that passion can cool. But what do you do when the very foundation of liking someone, of just enjoying their company, has crumbled to dust? For years, I thought marriage was a fortress. But what happens when you realize you've been living in a house where all the lights have burned out? You know every corner, every creak in the floor, but the warmth is gone. You're not partners anymore. You're just roommates. You're bound by a contract and a shared history that feels like it belongs to two completely different people. You feel lonely and disconnected, even when they're sitting right next to you. This realization didn't hit me like a lightning bolt. It was more like a slow, creeping dawn. At first, it was just little annoyances, things I could brush off. The way he chews his toast, the way he leaves his wet towel on the bed, how he tells the same story at every single dinner party. Things that once seemed like quirky, charming flaws now feel like sandpaper on my last nerve. But it's the silence that's the most damning. Our home is filled with it. It's this heavy, suffocating silence that swallows conversations before they can even start. We used to talk for hours about everything and nothing. Our lives were woven together by this constant thread of communication. Now that thread's gone, we stopped sharing our thoughts, our fears, our wins. His problems at work, my family drama. It's like we've silently agreed to stop caring about each other's lives. It feels like I'm living this invisible, parallel life that he just refuses to see. I remember watching him across the dinner table last night. He was just scrolling through his phone, the blue light glowing on his face, and I felt nothing, no anger, no sadness. Just a deep, hollow emptiness, a total emotional checkout. I tried to remember the man I fell in love with. The one who made me laugh until I cried. The one who held my hand so tight during scary movies. The one who saw me, really saw me. I looked at the man at the table, and all I could see was a stranger. Attachment theory suggests that strong emotional bonds are what create a sense of security. When those bonds weaken, you start to feel like strangers. The person you married becomes a ghost in your own home, and you're haunted not by their presence, but by the absence of the person they used to be. The hardest part is the performance. The world outside our front door still expects us to be Maya and Tom, the happy couple. So I put on the mask. I smile at barbecues. I laugh at his jokes during game night with our friends. I post the anniversary picture with a caption full of heart emojis. It's a full-time job pretending our life isn't this carefully built lie. I feel like a Stepford wife, a robot programmed to make everything look perfect on the outside while I'm just slowly dying inside. My best friend, Sarah, she sees it. She gets that look in her eyes, the one that says, I know something's wrong. She asks if I'm okay, and I'll just say I'm tired or stressed from work. Because how do you actually say it out loud? How do you tell someone that your marriage, the thing you promised to cherish, now feels like a prison? It's the hypocrisy that really wears me down. The constant pretending is exhausting. When you're in a loveless relationship, you can feel your self-esteem slowly get chipped away. You start wondering if you're the problem. His criticisms, which used to be rare, are more frequent now. He says I'm too sensitive, that I overreact. Over time, I've started to second-guess myself, wondering if his version of me is the right one. This is what happens when you start to only see your partner's flaws, and they only see yours, you feel judged, humiliated, and you don't even recognize the person he's describing anymore. It happened on a Tuesday. A day so boring, so completely unremarkable, that I should have seen it coming. The fight started over something stupid, a bill that was paid late. But it wasn't about the bill. It's never about the bill. It was about years of resentment, disappointment, and all the hurts we never talked about, all piled up. He was defensive. I was critical. Researcher John Gottman calls them the four horsemen of the marital apocalypse: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. They had moved into our house years ago, and now they were sitting right there at our kitchen island, tearing us apart. And then I said it, the words I'd only dared to think in the quiet of the morning. I just don't like you anymore, Tom. The words just hung there in the air between us, sharp and ugly. His face, which had been twisted in anger, went completely slack with shock. The anger was gone, replaced by something I hadn't seen in a very long time: real hurt. In that moment, the dam broke. All the years of silent frustration, of feeling unseen and unheard, just came pouring out. I told him I felt alone, that our marriage felt like a duty, a long, drawn-out obligation I was failing at. I told him I missed being happy. I missed myself. He just stood there, speechless. The argument was over. But the silence that came after was so much worse than any shouting match. It was the sound of something breaking for good. We had finally hit the single most powerful predictor of divorce: marital disappointment. After that day, something had to give. We couldn't pretend anymore. We started living in this fragile, awkward truce. We started talking, talking for the first time in years. It wasn't easy. It was like trying to speak a language we had both forgotten. I started journaling, trying to figure out my own thoughts. Relationship experts talk about these internal scripts, the subconscious thoughts that shape how we feel. For years, my script had been so negative, just reinforcing the dissatisfaction. He doesn't care. This will never get better. I'm trapped. I had to start questioning that script. Was it telling the whole truth? He started opening up, too, about his own fears. The pressure from his job, the feeling that he wasn't providing for us the way he wanted to. It didn't magically fix everything. It didn't suddenly make me him again. But for the first time, I felt a flicker of empathy. That old, familiar feeling. We learned that 69% of marital problems are perpetual. They don't get solved. You just have to figure out a way to manage them without letting them destroy you. Our perpetual problem was a huge difference in how we connect. I need words and deep conversation. He needs physical touch and doing things together. We had completely stopped giving each other any of it. We were both emotionally starving. We weren't a we anymore. We had become two separate people who only emphasized their independence. Navigating this kind of emotional emptiness is so incredibly hard. And it's a journey so many of us face in silence. If this story hits home for you, share your thoughts in the comments below. It really helps to know you're not alone. And if you find these stories meaningful, please think about subscribing for more content that explores the real and often messy sides of life and relationships. So, where does that leave us? I wish I could give you a neat, tidy ending. I wish I could say we rediscovered our love and everything went back to how it was. But life isn't a movie. We're still together. We're trying. Some days are better than others. There are moments when I catch a glimpse of the man I married and I feel a pang of something warm, something that feels like hope. Other days, the silence creeps back in, and that feeling of being just roommates is overwhelming. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe we'll find our way back to each other. Maybe we'll decide the kindest thing to do is to let each other go. The mask is off, and we're just left with the raw, uncertain truth of our relationship. The thought, I don't like my husband, doesn't feel like a final verdict anymore. Now it feels like a starting point, a painful, terrifying, but necessary starting point. It's the question that has finally forced us to stop sleepwalking through our marriage. And maybe, just maybe, answering it is the only way to find out if there's anything left worth saving. It's no longer about finding that old spark. It's about seeing if we can build something new from the ashes.